the environment is changing. And when we say the environment, there are various factors included in our business environment, right? It consists of all these external uncontrollable factors within the marketing channels, right? And you will find that these factors are affecting the various marketing channel variables, right? It affects channel members and non-channel members, such as the facilitating agents, which we have been talking about. All these combined will be our channel participants, right? So we are saying that this marketing channel consists of channel members and also the non-members participants. Members will be like the producers or manufacturers or service providers. And then we have the intermediaries, right? And then towards the end, of course, we have the target market or the final consumers. Depending on the channel that we are having. Is it a consumer market or a business market, right? So if you are serving the final consumer, the consumer markets like you and me, buying the goods or services for our own consumption. So then your final, let's say, target market will be the final consumers, right? The individual consumers. Or else if you are serving the business market, it will be the organizations, right? For the industrial markets, you are actually dealing with the organizations, right? But you need these facilitating agents to facilitate the flows of goods and services, right? So then the whole social system will be consisting of these channel members and facilitated by the facilitating agents. So that is the entire social system. As I have already shared with you the video clip, right? Please listen to it as many times as possible because we have already shared this and then I have shared the recordings. And you find that this social system is operating in this dynamic environment. And this environment is affecting this social system, right? To what extent these flows or channeling of goods and services will be smooth, and to what extent these distribution objectives will be achieved, you really need to know the changes of these environmental factors and react accordingly. Or even you have to lead the social environment, social system in tandem with these changes in these environments, right? And the changes in economic sector and also social, economic, social, cultural changes, competitive environmental changes, technological environmental changes, legal environmental changes, and also the physical, natural environmental changes. Because the various changes will affect the social environment, right? For instance, the economic changes, right? You have these changes of price level, changes of these economic variables like cost, right? And also the economic development, the employment, the international trade, and also in international trade, there are various variables are changing. So there are many variables, economic variables are changing, which we have to realize. Somebody is coming in, is it? I really hope that you are punctual. Please be reminded because you will be affecting our lecture, if you come in on and off. Please, next time, please be punctual. Thank you very much. Or else you will be outside there. You will not be inside this group. Right? So recession, if the price level or the economic growth is declining, as we know, right? So if recession is happening, consumer and the corporate spending will be lesser and lesser, reduced sales volume, reduced profitability, and firms caught with these large inventories. So you can see if this is the situation, of course, the channel strategy will be affected. The channel tactics will be affected. the behaviors of the channel members and the channel participants will be affected. So it is rational that the various channel members and the participants will be behaving in such behaviors, with various attitudes. So you as a channel managers or marketing managers, we have to realize all these changes and you will react accordingly. Or during the inflation or deflation time, there are various behaviors or attitudes. So you can see there are various behaviors happening, right? So there are possible channel strategy like reducing the product mix from higher price to lower price products. It is really rational that the inventory burden on the members will be happening, right? With this streamlined production line, faster order processing and delivery, higher inventory turnover through stronger promotional support. So you can see that during these economic changes, certain attitudes or behaviors will be happening. Certain channel strategies will be needed, or certain tactics will be happening, so that the channel members and the channel participants will be satisfied. Same goes to when there is a deflation time, right? When the price levels is declining. So the challenges will be like pass the cost-induced price increases through the channel when these built-in cost pressures from labor contracts were negotiated several years earlier. Because certain orders may have priced already, and then now the price level is different. So there could be conflicts or arguments or certain set of behaviors happening in the social systems, right? And you can see that the interest rate may be happening, the demand level will be changing, the cost level will be changing as well. And also you can see that the foreign exchange rate will be changing as the economic environment is changing. So you can see if the changes are happening, it is normal that the channel members will be reacting in such a way, right? So as to meet the requirements in the market and also the requirements from the channel members. And more so if the environmental changes in terms of competitive environment, all right? And you can see that the types of competition will be happening as the environment is changing, like the horizontal environment, vertical environment, right? And vertical competition, inter-type competition, or channel system competition is happening, right? Horizontal environment, horizontal competition in a way that the manufacturers are actually competing with other manufacturers in the same level, right? And then wholesalers are competing with other wholesalers in that particular same level. Retailers are competing with other retailers in that retailing level. All right. So we call that as a horizontal competition. They are competing within the same level. All right. Manufacturer level, wholesaler level, retailers level. Or sometimes it can be inter-type competition. Different types of manufacturers are competing among themselves or between themselves. Manufacturer type A is competing with manufacturer type A, right? For instance, the merchant wholesaler is competing with merchant wholesaler. So that is within the wholesaler level. Manufacturer type 1 can be competing with manufacturer type 1. So you can see this kind of inter-type competition is happening. Same goes to retailers. Retailer type 1, for instance, supermarket, right, is competing with supermarket. Hypermarket is competing with hypermarket. Grocery shops are competing with the grocery shops. So same type is competing with another type. So you can see this kind of inter-type retailers or wholesalers or manufacturers will be competing, right? There are different types competing within the same level. or they are competing from one level with another level, also possible, right? The manufacturer is competing with the wholesaler. Wholesaler is competing with the retailer. So this kind of competition can be happening. Or it can be the whole social system, the whole channel is competing with another channel, especially let's say if you are channeling different product, right? So you can see the whole system is competing with another system. So that is what we call the channel system competition. So please read up in your textbook, in your slides that I am giving to you, and also in the videos that you have been shared, right? Same goes to social cultural environment. It's changing, right? When we say social cultural, there are so many aspects, pervades all aspects of a society, right? Influencing both national and international marketing channels, and also local channels. For instance, in let's say in Kuching, right? In Kuching market, the social cultural environmental changes in Kuching is affecting us as a channel manager, right? When we say social, there are many factors. When we say cultural, there are many cultural factors, as we have been sharing. It can be the personal culture, it can be ethnic culture, it can be the regional culture, right? In Sarawak, we have many cultural factors. Not only the personal culture, we have the multi-ethnic culture. We also have the Sarawak culture. And also we have the West Malaysian culture. Overall, we have Malaysian culture. And also in Southeast Asia, we have this Southeast Asian culture, right? Same goes to the social elements. So you can see this social cultural combined can be involving many variables. And then these various variables will be affecting the channels management in terms of the channel structure, in terms of the channel members use, in terms of the number of channel members, in terms of also the distribution tasks will be affected. In terms of the distribution objectives will be affected. So you can see these economic variables, social cultural variables, political legal variables, nature, and also these physical variables, technological variables, all these changes will be affecting the channels management. All these are intertwined. All these are actually nexus of relationships. So you can see that environmental changes can really affect the channels management, right? Go into detail, social cultural factors like population age, ethnic mix, education trends, family, household structure, role of women's. So if you go into detail of all these social cultural factors, you can see can be very complicated, right? Take into consideration of these social cultural changes in Sarawak. Population is changing. The migration is changing. Movement of population from rural to urban, urban to rural, urban to suburban. You know, this population size is changing. The mix is changing. The movement of population. All this will be affecting the channels management. When we say channels management, we'll be affecting the channel structure, the flows of goods and services, the distribution tasks, the distribution objectives, the behaviors of the channel members, the behaviors of the participants. All this also will affect the conflicts aspect, right? We affect, you know, the expectations and the perceptions of the people in these social systems. I've already shared with you that this channel is a social system, and people's perceptions and expectations, their objectives, congruence will be different. Their experiences will be different. Now you are analyzing the customer experiences. You will know all this, huh? So as you are writing your assignment one, please take into consideration all this. You may choose one of these to write your individual assignment. It can be about social cultural aspect. It can be about the economic aspect. It can be about the political influences on the customer experiences. It can be on the, let's say, in this case, the SOP of this COVID-19, how this can affect the customer experiences. So you can tap into one factor, or you can analyze the overall factors. So it's totally up to you. You can tap the economic situation, or social cultural situation, technological situation, political legal situation, or the nature or this physical situation. Or you may be taking this competitive environment as one of the factor to analyze. Some people may want to take all these environmental factors and analyze how these various factors are affecting the customer experiences. So it's up to you. I just want to showcase all these various variables. Of course, you can see these technological environmental changes involving many technological issues, ranging from the computer or digitalizations of procedures, especially now during this COVID-19 pandemic. How these technological environmental changes affecting the customer experiences in terms of the using of these scanners or MySejahtera and other technological changes, right? The use of these online, let's say, platforms and so on, and the use of this digitalization of the processes and the systems, right? So to what extent all this can affect this channels management, the channel structure, distribution objectives, distribution tasks, and the relationships between and among the channel members and the channel participants, the performance of all these distribution tasks and the behaviors, all this can be affected, right? So you can see that this technological environment will be affecting the channels management in terms of, let's say, the daily operations or the strategies or the consumer behaviors. So in terms of the various use of technological devices and the processes, that one is up to you to discuss. The use of, let's say, 3D modeling, computer salespeople, mobile robots, or ultra devices and technology. To what extent this acceleration of technology and the use of the latest technology, I think that is up to you to debate and discuss to what extent they are being used and to what extent those can affect the channels, operations, and management. All right. So in terms of also political and legal environment, of course, if you want to take into context of this Sarawak retailing and also channels management, you can see that political, legal, environmental changes, including this legal environment, rules and regulation, laws and ordinances happening in our country or in this region, you can see that all these political changes, not only the political parties ruling the state or the nation, what we mean is the legal system and also the policies, the legal and changes of the rules and regulations. All this we term as political legal environment, right? So all these changes will affect the channels management, in terms of the structure, in terms of the members, participants use, in terms of the procedures, and also the logistical systems, in terms of the operations in the whole social system, in terms of the expectations and operations in this social system, the flows of goods and services, and management of all these behaviors, all will be affected.